Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on phenolic compound management focused on white wine. My name is Eglantine Chauffour. I'm the winemaking product manager for Bucher, Vaslin, North America, representing lamothe-abiet, and I will be your speaker today. So before we dive into the topic of the webinar, let me introduce you the two partners for this presentation. We have Bucher Vaslin, designer, manufacturer, and seller of material for grape and wine processing since 1856. So quite a long experience and presence all around the world in the wine industry. And then we have lamothe-abiet, winemaking product brand renowned for their high quality and premium products. They have been founded in Bordeaux in 1878, so 140 years of experience and expertise. We are now making it available for you in North America. As Bucher Vaslin in North America is expanding their portfolio, we are not only offering equipment, but also lamothe-abiet winemaking product, Coastral bottling line, and Cazo wine pump to make sure we can be your partner for the full process of the winemaking. If you need more information on what we can offer, please go on the website bvnorthamerica.com. You will find everything you need. Okay, so thank you. So now let's talk about Phenolic. So why are we talking about phenolics in white wine? Why do we want to limit their concentration? Mainly because they are responsible of mouthfeel character. So phenolics are usually increasing bitterness sensation, astringency sensation, and phenolic sensation. Also, they are participating to structure, which sometimes can be positive when we are producing a white wine that is a little bit heavier and bigger. So phenolic compounds can also give some weight, oiliness, and viscosity to the wine. A very important part of phenolic compounds is that they are strongly involved into oxidative stability. So phenolic compounds play a key role in oxidation reactions, as we will see later. But they are promoting premature aging, pinking, and browning. So we do want to remove them or to stabilize them to make sure we can produce a stable wine. Last point is that phenolic compounds are also involved into color. So browning, pinking, but also when we make rosé, phenolic compounds are the anthocyanin are phenolic compounds responsible for the pink color. Pinot Gris or orange wine, the color is related to the phenolic compounds. So since unbalanced bitterness and astringency, as well as color and colloid instability, are associated with phenolic compounds and ultimately reduce wine quality and wine value, we do want to reduce and limit the phenolic compounds in wine. There is two categories of phenolic compounds present in white grapes. There's the non-flavonoids, which are the caphtoric, caffeic, and butyric acids. They are present in the intermediate zone, so the pulp, so the first one to be extracted. And when they get oxidized, they form a quinone that reacts very strongly with glutathione, with natural antioxidant potential of the wine, and also initiate all the oxidation reactions. Second category is going to be the flavonoids. Flavonoids are catechin or epicatechin. They are more present around the seeds in the central zone or around the skin, the peripheral zone. They are harder to extract, so they are less present in white wine, but they still have some because they are present in the same zone that's polysaccharide or aromatic precursors, so we do want to extract some of them. Okay, so we have to be careful with the extraction of both categories, as they both play a role in the mouthfeel. They both play a role in oxidation reactions. The non-flavonoid quinone will initiate all oxidation reaction and use the antioxidant potential. The flavonoid quinones will actually trap aromas. So as phenolic are playing an essential role into oxidation reactions, let's review quickly how they are involved. Okay, so during grape and juice processing, we focus on enzymatic reactions, knowing that chemical reaction will go through more or less the same process where phenolic are involved. It's just that the reactions are much slower. The idea today is to talk about how to manage phenolics in juice, so we don't have to manage them in wine. Okay, so in grape and juice processing, we have a polyphenol oxidase and lacase that are oxidative enzymes that will catalyze the oxidation of hydroxycinnamic acid in presence of oxygen, so caphteric or cutaric, into quinones. These quinones will first react with glutathione, the natural antioxidant agent present in grape. Glutathione is a trap for quinone, so it's going to react directly with the quinone, trap it, and stop any reaction there. Then quinone will react with other phenolic compounds, leading to the formation of a range of complex phenolic adducts involving flavonoids and non-flavonoids. So this phenolic polymerization happens in very fast in enzymatic reaction. It happens in other fruits as well, such as apple, avocado, bananas. When we see the skin browning or the flesh of the apple browning, it's because polyphenol oxidase is in contact with oxygen and will start to oxidize all hydroxycinnamic acid into quinone, and quinone will start the polymerization, phenolic polymerization. Chemical reactions, this happen as well. Wine is browning naturally with oxidation, but it's very slow, and this is aging. Okay, so in enzymatic reaction, it goes very fast. The thing is that these phenolic complexes are sometimes very big and they can precipitate. Sometimes they stay in solution and they just keep oxidizing the rest of the compounds. And sometimes they react with aromatic compounds, especially if we create O-quinone from flavonoids. The last point is the quinone can react with aromatic compounds, even if it is in a very small extent, since aromatic compounds are present in precursor form in juice, it's still happening. Okay, so today, since we're focusing on phenolic compounds, I'm not gonna go further in these reactions. I am not gonna detail more about oxidation reactions. I just want to make sure you understand how much phenolic compounds are involved into these reactions and how much phenolic compounds determine the stability. They are the first step of oxidation reaction chains. Okay, if you want more info on oxidation, we did webinars on specifically how to manage oxidation. So please go on www.bvnorthamerica.com/webinars and you will find all the recordings there. Okay, so we are here today to actually discuss the most common question that everyone is asking himself about phenolic management. How can we limit extraction of phenolic compounds while optimizing extraction of the positive wine components such as polysaccharide, aromatic precursors, and also maintaining good juice quality with a good juice yield? So that's going to be the first question. That is actually a very important question, and we're going to talk about different extraction methods and also press cycle and fraction separation. Second big question is how can we remove unstable phenolic compounds? So there is two different ways that we will talk about: oxidative path, pushing oxidation reactions to make sure we use the entire stock of phenolic precursors, so we will reach stability. And the other path is fining, so removing targeted phenolic compounds through fining agents. Last topic we will talk about today is trying to balance these phenolic compounds. So this is when we arrive at the wine step. We know we have some stable phenolic compound in the wine. What do? We can remove them through fining, or we can actually balance them and integrate in the wine. So we will talk about this. So first point, extraction, and the main concern with extraction is to limit the phenolic compound while optimizing the positive components of the wine. Two main points to be careful with before we go to the methods is try to limit the stem's contact. In the stem, there is not much aromas, there is not much polysaccharide, but there is many phenolic compounds, so we don't want to extract too much of them, so limit the stem contact. And then Be careful with sulfur, as sulfur can act as a solvent with phenolics, so using sulfur will increase your amount of phenolic compounds. So extraction method available to winemakers, the first one would be crushing. Crushing is the destructuration of the berries, so it increases the juice-skin contact ratio. So this will make the diffusion of phenolic much easier, since they have fewer cells to cross. Basically, they have less distance and less obstruction to diffuse through. Okay, but crushing also increases the level of turbidity, which means increase the amount of oxidases present in the juice, and also increase the amount of oxygen contact. So we are having a higher enzymatic activity and higher oxidation. The second step is to use maceration enzymes. So lamothe-abiet has an enzyme for this purpose, which is called enosyme crush white. Enosyme crush white is a liquid pectinase that is highly concentrated and highly purified for a focused and optimized activity. We use it 15 to 30 milliliters per ton in the bin or at the crusher or at the press filler, but on grapes. Okay. Again, since lamothe-abiet focused on premium product, premium enzyme means highly purified, so our enzymes are very highly purified. So using enzyme on grapes, maceration enzyme will help with the extraction of polysaccharide and aromatic precursors. It will also promote some extraction of phenolic compounds, but at a smaller extent. Mostly what it does, it will increase the free run yield. So you're going to increase the yield of the qualitative juice, so your free run and first press, easily from 7 to 10% of volume, which will allow you to reduce the pressure that you use on during your press cycle. It will allow you to reduce your timing of the press, so you can reduce it of 20% easily. Reducing pressure means limiting phenolic extraction and potassium extraction. So even if we promote a little bit the extraction of phenolic compounds by using an enzyme, we are limiting so much by reducing the pressure that we still have less phenolic compounds. And same with potassium. So we maintain our acidity, our quality, and we increase the volume of this juice. As you can see in the graph here, the green is enosyme crush white, the yellow is the juice with no enzyme. We are increasing a lot the volume of the free run, plus the lower pressure, so 0.5 bar, but then we don't change much the volume extracted on higher pressure. So we do increase the volume in general, but about the two first fractions, which are the most qualitative. And if you look at the graph on the right side of your screen, you will see how much with using enosyme crush white, we can extract more aromatic precursors. So blue, you have the control, red, you have the enosyme crush white, and you can see that we basically double the full amount of thiolic compounds in the finished wine if we use enzyme on grapes. Last point, when you use enosyme crush white, is that you are also improving settling, which you will see is very important in controlling phenolics and oxidation. Okay, next step is maceration. So maceration is a slow extraction. You have to play with time and temperature, but if you go too high in temperature, you promote oxidation and you promote extraction of phenolics. And if you go too long in time, you are promoting oxidation. So there is an increased risk of oxidation. So to optimize maceration, you want to use enosyme crush white to shorten the time and to have less oxidation. Last step is going to be about pressing. So pressing is the most important step in extraction, and press management is crucial in how we are going to extract, which compounds we are going to extract, the quality of the juice, but also managing pressing means managing time and yield. So we have to be careful in a production manner to also talk about how to manage the parameters of time and yield. So let's talk a little bit more about pressing. So to limit extraction of skin compounds, which means phenolics and potassium, we do want to limit rotations, and so which means we want to go on a Crément cycle. Crément cycle is a cycle that you can see on the screen here, a slow increase in pressure by maintaining the pressure for a longer period of time. This type of cycle will limit rotation, will allow you less turbidity, less phenolics, and less potassium in the juice, so a cleaner and higher quality juice. And having this type of cycle will allow you to have a more juice of qualitative at low pressure, so more qualitative juice. Okay, but Crément cycle also means longer press cycle and lower yield. So since we want to optimize time and yield, we are talking about press cut. So when you are ready to do a press cut, you can actually go ahead and do a hard press cycle with standard amount of rotation, higher phenolic extraction, higher potassium extraction, but that's fine because we cut it, we have this in a different tank, and we will treat it in a different way. To do your press cut, you can use pH, you can use observation, and you can use conductivity. If you look at the graph on the left side of your screen, you can see the blue line is representing conductivity. Conductivity is representing potassium. Potassium and phenolic compounds are actually having a generally the same distribution on the berries. So when we extract potassium, we extract phenolic compounds. Measuring conductivity means measuring potassium. So since potassium and phenolics are related, conductivity is a very strong indicator of how much phenolic compounds we are extracting. We know every rotation we extract more. We know when we increase pressure, we extract more. So basically, usually, most commonly, let's say the press cut is made at 12 to 15% of conductivity change. That's when you want to do your press cut and you change your program to go on extraction and more volume. So you go faster, you have higher yield, but you maintain your high quality juice on one side and then your hard press fraction on the other. Okay, to help you optimize quality, yield, and time without having to do any compromise, Bucher developed an intelligent pressing, which is called the organ program. This was in 2009, so it's actually not new. And the organ program is actually optimizing and adjusting the press cycle in real time, measuring juice flow and taking in consideration some parameter you decide, such as the grape variety, the grape quality, the maximum time of pressing you want, the type of pressing you want, if you want gentle quality or just fast and extraction, and also the level of dryness of the pearl mass you are desiring. Knowing all these parameters and measuring the flow in real time, organ program will optimize the, try to have as much juice as possible at the lower pressure, so optimize the volume and the yield of qualitative juice, and try to reduce as much possible rotation and crumbling, considering the time and the dryness of the pearl mass desired. Okay, so after talking about press cut and press cycle, usually the second most common question that comes in mind with press management and phenolic compounds is, should we protect or not from oxygen? There is two options here. So it's gonna depend on your wine style, it's gonna depend on your grape variety, mostly they are aromatic varieties or not, and if they are strongly phenolic varieties such as Pinot Gris or Viognier or not. And then press fraction can be treated in a different way as well. So if we compare both approach, oxygenation is usually done on phenolic varieties or press fractions. The idea is to force oxidation reactions, so we are oxidizing all phenolic compounds. So we are oxidizing our stock, our pool of phenolic compounds that we extracted until they all precipitate, so we remove them. This way we reduce astringency, we reduce bitterness, and we have more stable wine. We also have more viscous wines. The negative side of this technique is that we are actually using and removing all our glutathione, which is our natural antioxidant potential of the wine. So we completely use the stock of this. And we are also losing some aromatic compounds. Even when we play with controlled oxidation, we are still removing some aromatic compounds. One important step on this process that we will talk about later is to make sure we remove all these phenolic compounds that are oxidized through fining and settling before we go to fermentation, as this compound can redissolve in presence of alcohol. The second aspect, the full protection strategy, it's much more appropriate for qualitative juice, free run, first presses, and highly varietal character and high quality grapes. We do want to promote full protection, so using inert gas, antioxidant agent, sulfur. It will allow us to preserve our glutathione, our natural antioxidant potential, but also our aromas, aromatic precursors, freshness, and also phenolics. So we will need to have this strategy integrated in the full process. So our entire process should be more reductive if we choose this route, but also we can think about a fining to remove these unstable phenolics that we extract through pressing. We don't oxidize them, but they are still unstable. So usually oxygenation is used on lower quality fractions to optimize and to increase the quality of these low quality fractions. Full protection is more to optimize and to increase the quality of high quality juice. Okay, so let's look a little bit more at juice oxygenation. So juice oxygenation, it's an old technique. Hyperox has been developed in 1970 by Müller-Spaß, and it has been developed to stabilize phenolic compounds and phenolic varieties such as Pinot Gris. Nowadays, there is many improvement. Now we are more talking about controlled oxygenation, which some companies can actually measure how much a juice will need oxygen to consume all their phenolic compounds, and then injecting exactly the right amount. So this is something you can do if you want to optimize your free run and first press. If we are talking about press fractions that are very rich in phenolic compounds, we can go towards hyperox, and the question of how much oxygen will be between 20 and 60 milliliters per liter of oxygen, which means a lot. Okay, so controlled oxygenation is good if you really want to focus on higher quality fractions. If we are talking about valorizing side fractions, hyperox is still very good. Okay, so the approach is to push these oxidation reactions and to use all our stock of phenolic compounds through this and remove them through settling. We will achieve stability, and we will lower astringency, bitterness, and we will increase softness. What is the process? So we do want to reduce the application of antioxidant agents. So you don't want any protection, no sulfur or very low sulfur. You want to add oxygen through a sparger, venturi, pumping, dosing system. It depends how your winery is set up. Again, how much oxygen will depend on the varieties, the vintage, the terroir, grape composition, but also how much oxygen your grapes saw from picking to juice phase. How you manage your pressing. Okay. If we go on hyperox and press fraction, 20 to 60 mils per liters of oxygen are great. Then once reactions are done, which means you wait a few hours to have the reactions happening. If you can measure DO, after a few hours you measure DO to check if you are below 1 ppm. And in this case, you are ready to remove these phenolic compounds. Very important to remove them. That's the essential, crucial step in hyperox or oxygenation, is to make sure you precipitate them and you're going to rack them off. These compounds are not soluble in juice, but they become soluble in wine. So if you don't remove them now, they will resolubilize in wine and actually start to create more oxidation. Okay, so you want to promote a strong clarification. And for this, we have an enzyme that is called an enzyme CLAR that will help you having a very strong It's a strong pectinase, again, highly purified and highly concentrated liquid pectinase that acts at very low or very high temperature. Strong pectinase that overnight you can reach a very clean juice. So we are promoting clarification with the use of an enzyme clar, but also we are using fining agents to make sure we remove oxidized and oxidable phenolic compounds. So, and fining agent in this situation would be casein or PVPP. SO2 can be used at this step to stop any reactions. So oxygenation is a very interesting strategy and approach to valorize lower quality fractions, so high phenolic content fractions of juice. And in this case, we can really optimize their quality and reintegrate a part of this volume into our high quality juice. It is very risky to use juice oxygenation on varietal character and high quality free run and first presses. So for this type of fractions, we will go more towards a full protection approach, which if we are talking about full protection approach, we have to focus on pressing. Pressing is the moment where we have the most oxygen contact with juice and grapes. Every time we deflate the membrane, if we are talking about pneumatic presses, every time we deflate the membrane, this volume is replaced by air. So knowing this, Bucher actually developed a press that is called Bucher inertis that ensure you full protection for the entire process, press process. So instead of using air, we are using nitrogen. So basically the press, as you can see here, is connected to a nitrogen bag, and any time the membrane is going to deflate, the nitrogen in this bag is going to come in the press and replace the volume. So we are fully protected. We can ensure you less than 2% of oxygen present in the full program of the press. So the press is full of nitrogen. When we press, the nitrogen goes in the bag and in the tray to cover the juice. And then when we deflate the membrane, the nitrogen goes in the press to make sure we cover the pour mass. Okay, so as a result of this, you can see that we really even optimize the end of the press fraction, as you can see in this picture here. That's a picture end of pressing on an uni blanc. You can see that mechanical press is going to be very brown, full of oxidation. A standard Bucher press is going to be brown, full of oxidation. Bucher inertis, even end of pressing, we still protected our phenolic compounds and they are not in oxidation form. We didn't initiate any oxidation reactions. If we look more about numbers, with the Bucher inertis, we are actually protecting more acid phenols. So we saw, I told you that acid phenols are precursors of oxidation, so why do we want to have them? That's not about the inertis or not. Pressing will extract phenolic acids and hydroxycinnamic acids. We will extract them. Then the question is, when there is oxygen there, we are transforming them in quinones and we are starting the full oxidation reaction chain. If we use a Bucher inertis, as you can see on the line blue here, we are actually preserving all our phenolic acids, which means we didn't create any quinone, we didn't initiate any oxidation reactions. This is also seen with the glutathione. We are protecting and maintaining a very huge amount of glutathione. All our natural antioxidant potential is kept and preserved compared to the glutathione in the classic standard press with oxygen that is already gone after the beginning of the press. We use it fully. And if we look at the color, there is much more yellow color produced in a standard press because there is oxidation than with the inertis. So to conclude, if we do want full protection, there is only one way to optimize completely the aromatic potential and antioxidant potential of the grapes is to go with a Bucher inertis. We will preserve glutathione, we will preserve color, we will preserve aromas, and will not initiate any oxidation reactions. So we preserve all our potential. To know more about this press technique and also more about oxidation, please, you can watch, I invite you to watch our previous webinar on oxidation management, on thiolic compounds, and rosé, and you can visit our website. There is many articles you can read on Bucher inertis, on white, rosé, and red winemaking process. Okay, so full protection is a strategy that is very interesting, especially for grapes that has varietal character and for high quality juice, where if we do use a Bucher inertis, we completely optimize the quality of these juices plus the quality of the wine, as we are preserving the antioxidant potential. Okay, so it's something, it's a strategy we want to think within the entire process. We have to keep our mindset as reductive condition to really optimize every step of the process. Then, because we extract also phenolic acids, which are very sensitive to oxidation, didn't oxidize them yet, but we don't want to oxidize them later in the process. So fining will still be a good approach for juices coming from a Bucher inertis. So from any presses, fining can be a very good approach. Mainly it's a matter of how much fining and which one. So proactive strategy of fining will help you eliminating unstable phenolics, will help you improving clarification, improving aromatic expression, and wine stability. When to fine? My answer is as early as possible. That's why I'm talking about proactive fining. We are removing the compounds before they actually start to do anything bad in the wine. So as early as possible. The main question is, will a proactive fining impact the aromas and the wine quality? So the answer is yes, it will. It will, but in a positive way. That's why actually I'm showing you this graph on your screen. On the screen, you can see that we are comparing a control, green fine mix, which is pea protein and PVPP, and casein mix, which is a pure potassium caseinate. We did the fining at juice stage, and here we are looking at the aromas in wine stage. And you can see in a very obvious way that the control is the one with the lowest aromatic compounds, lowest thiols, and lowest esters, compared to the one that we find on juice. So this said, so yes, proactive fining will impact the aromas and the wine quality, but it will increase the aromatic expression and improve the wine quality. Because at this stage, when we do it on juice or early in the fermentation, you don't remove any aromatic compounds since they are not created yet. They are in precursor form, but you remove all the precursors of oxidation, which are the unstable phenolic compounds. So when we are talking about fining, we are looking at fining agents that will help clarification, remove oxidized phenolic compounds, remove easily oxidable phenolic compounds, as a low impact on aromas, and can treat color if we are thinking about rosé wines. This means usually caseins or PVPP or alternative to these two compounds, alternative to plastics such as pea protein, or alternative to non-animal protein, which would be yeast derivatives. Lamothe-abiet developed fining agents for this application. We have casein mix, which is potassium caseinate, polymix, which is PVPP, casein, and cellulose, polymix nature, which is a PVPP, bentonite, and yeast derivate. So this is our alternative to animal protein. It is a vegan alternative that is great for juice fining. We also have a full range of pea protein, but pea protein is a great molecule that is not TTB approved yet in USA, but it is completely legal everywhere else in the world. So for the Canadians that are connected, or the Mexicans that are connected, you can use pea protein, which would be our green fine mast or green fine mixed. Okay, so still on the same question of which fining agent to use, I would like to show you some results of trials comparing different fining agents, where we are looking at clarification, phenolic content, and color. So on clarification, we are comparing a control with no fining agent, which is a dark line here, dark blue, with polymix and polymix nature and other blends. And as you can see, we're looking at how much lees we produce, because we still think about yield and we don't want to lose too much yield. So we want a good compaction, and what's the turbidity, so how much we clarified and how fast we clarified. And as you can see, the winner in this situation, the one with the less lees and the less turbidity, is the light blue, which is our polymix nature. Second trial, we look in a rosé, we look at the amount of phenolic compounds, which we are looking at the absorbance at 280. And you can see that the control has much higher phenolic compounds than all the one fine. So caseimix, polymix, and polymix nature work great in removing these phenolic compounds we do want to remove. Last point to look at is the color. So we are focusing on yellow, which is a 420, red that is a 520, and purple that is a 620. So all the fining agents we are trying are acting great in removing yellow and red, but you can see that the polymix nature is the one that removes the most yellow color, which means is the one that removes the most of the oxidized phenolic compounds. So basically, to answer in a very simple way, which fining agent to use for phenolic management in white and rosé juices, the answer is polymix nature. On press fractions, on juices that you didn't oxidize at all and you completely protected, on rosé fractions that you want to treat color, polymix nature will be a great fining agent that is also non-animal vegan, so non-allergenic. Okay, I'm happy to give you more information on polymix nature after the webinar. So now the next step of our conversation is actually going to be what do we do if we do a phenolics in the wine? So we are talking about stable phenolics, not phenolics that we want to remove, but phenolics that we might want to keep and we want to integrate in the wine, and we want to make them balance. So we have to work on the mouthfeel. We did a full webinar on mouthfeel that I invite you to watch. So here is going to be a very quick review about it. We have, I just want to remind you the 3 parameters of the balance in mouthfeel. We have the phenolic compounds on one side, acidity, and sweetness, volume, and body. If we have one of these sides that is destabilized, we have to change the 2 others to balance it. So if we talk about phenolic compounds here, right now we are pulling the phenolic pole out of our circle, which means that we are going to have to decrease our acidity and increase our sweetness, volume, and body to balance it. So integrating and balancing phenolic compounds in wine means increasing viscosity, volume, sweetness, and roundness. How can we do this? What are the tools available to winemakers to do this? Polysaccharide. We can have polysaccharide during fermentation. Yeast are releasing manoprotein. You can use yeast derivatives, but you also extract plant polysaccharide coming from the grapes, especially when we use enzyme crush white. We're extracting much more polysaccharide at this step, which will help balancing the mouthfeel. During aging, we are talking about lees steering. Lees steering can be good if your lees are good, so you have to taste your lees. If they are not contaminated or reduced, it's a good to go. If they are, you want to rag them off, use good lees from another wine, or use alternative, which are commercial manoprotein. And then you can also do this job pre-bottling, so you can just take your time, age your wine, and see how it integrates. And if it's not pre-bottling, you can always do some bench trial with Sublisense and Stab K, which are our liquid manoprotein to be used pre-bottling, or Arabic gum, Excel gum, that is our Arabic gum to use pre-bottling. So you have many options to balance phenolics. They are all related to polysaccharides, and you have many steps in the process where you can work on. Okay, but I invite you to watch our webinar on mouthfeel management, and I'm also more than happy to come in the winery and help you doing some bench trial with some samples of this product. So as a take-home message, managing phenolic compounds in white wine is actually, if we really look at it, it's all about the first steps, the pre-fermentation steps. And we do want to manage extraction. So an enzyme crush white will help you having more extraction of the positive compounds, such as polysaccharide, aromatic compounds, while limiting the phenolic extraction, since we can limit the pressure we use. And it will also increase your free run yield. So we are increasing the amount of juice that is qualitative. Press management is the second crucial step. So you want to reduce the rotation and manage your press cycle as a Crémant style. And you want to do a press fraction separation, while we will treat this fraction differently. Then the question of oxygen or not, usually on the qualitative juice, so the free run and first press, we are on the reductive path. Full protection can be only achieved with Bucher inerties, but already if you use inert gas and antioxidant agent, you will have a good protection. This will allow you to preserve your aromatic potential and your oxidant potential, and to basically optimize and express the best of your grapes. Oxidative path, that's a strategy more to add value to press fraction or to really phenolic varieties. And we want to play with, so basically we oxidize everything and we remove unstable phenolic compounds via oxidation. We stabilize the wine like this. Crucial step is going to be to do a fining and to eliminate this oxidable and oxidized phenolic compound that we extracted from the press and then we oxidize or not. This will allow us to stabilize the juice, stabilize the wine, and optimize our aromatic expression. Okay, so managing phenolic compounds, as you can see, is really on the first step of the process, and there is few key moments where we really have to ask ourselves a great question. But also fining is a very important moment. No matter what we do before, fining will be crucial. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. I hope this webinar was informative and gave you some tips and ideas on how to manage phenolic compounds. You can watch the recording on our YouTube channel, so please feel free to subscribe. But also you can email me if you have any question at eglantine.chauffour@buchervaslin.com. And now I'm going to open the question and answer portion for anybody that is still connected. Thank you very much.